Alright guys, quite a few people got out, messaged me about the inserts I'm using and stuff off of, I think it was Pepe's post, and a lot of people were wondering some questions on how to set these pumps up, and probably in the same place that I was a year ago. Never ran a machine like this in my life, and then I bought one, so had a bunch of machinists come over and show me how to do this. So basically, once you look up on YouTube and make sure that the chuck is running true and that you adjust your tailstock so that it is true, which you can find all that information on YouTube. I got all mine within 1,000th, actually like 8/10ths, but anyway, 1,000th or 2 would be fine. It's a 3-jaw scroll. You're not gonna get it perfect. You could, but anyway, that's all you need. So starting out, to make sure that this is how I do it. Some people may think it's wrong or not, but I was showed by someone that I'm pretty certain he was a tool and die maker. So basically, you kind of put the pump in there and you jiggle it. You make sure you do not bottom it out here against this, because you can induce out of centric. You want it backed off a little bit there. You can see the gap. Don't run it up against that flat. Put it in here. Put it, snug it down somewhat light. Bring this up. I have to run an extension, that way I can run I can run this back and across, because the way I was taught, to make sure everything's running centric to the shaft, because you want this 90 degrees to the shaft, and a lot of these are out like 20 thou. Surprisingly, they work, so I guess that's how much forgiveness we got. But this is an old junk 60 pump. I'm not going to use it, but I'm just showing you guys. I was taught to check here in 2 places on the stator tube, because you could check in one spot and this thing actually be out. So I could put this in here, it could be way out, and I could check it right here in the middle and it might show 0. But then if I come here and here, I'd have 2 different readings. So make sure that you're getting roughly the same reading from here and out here. So like here, I'll check it here, and as you can see, it's about 5 thou. Then I run it over here and I check it, and it's just a little bit less, so that's telling me that it's close. I'm gonna off camera here get it a little closer, but I do know that you can machine these at like 10 out and they work just fine. Done a bunch of them, but now I spend the time to, so I would just back this off and leave this snugged up and tap it around till I get the best reading I can. You sometimes can't get it right because these tubes ain't perfect, so you're just not going to get it perfect, 0. And to make sure that I'm on the very top of the tube, I'm going to show you. So what I'm going to do is I put my indicator down on it and I run this back. I run this back and forth to my highest reading. So I'll run it towards me. Till it falls off, so it's not touching. Now I'm taking it in and it'll peak. And then it falls back off. Right? And I'm bringing it back again. So you go to your highest number. Now it falls off, so I'm scrolling back about right there. And then I pick up on my needle, make sure I got a little bit of play in it. I just moved it because I don't have it tightened down real tight, but right there's my high spot. Moving it back and forth until I find that high spot, but always make sure you got a little play there. You can see I'm taking it back and it peaks and falls off. So that's how you find center on that. But anyway, so I'll do that and I'll run it here and get it close as I can, and then I'll bring that up and just snug it with the ball nose. I got the little cheap eBay kit. It works just fine, and that just helps keep everything from possibly coming out. I'm going to run this thing for this probably 500 to 700 RPM, but if I want a real nice finish, I'll crank this thing up to 1200. And be careful, because from experience, stuff like this flies out. So we take all those out and make sure that you don't have anything, metal pins protruding if you're using PCD. I now just run the CBN. It gives me a nice finish, and if I did leave a pin or something in, it just cuts it right down, because it's a steel bit. It's one of the strongest ones that's ever made. So I just run CBN. But I have PCD on something I want to look real nice. I'll get into talking about these bits here in a little bit of how you'll know what bits to buy, because that was another issue for me. But I'm also going to tell you need to learn how to read these. A lot of guys have no clue. Nobody could ever give me answers on their speeds and feeds. Those two determine the speed off of here. So I run down here where I got a dot. That's what I got my belt set to. And I'm on C3 right now. So I'm down here on 2. I run C3. So right now I'm at 550 RPM. I want to put it up here to 700 for this test probably. But then on my feeds, I run the inch. I don't use the metric up here. I'm on S2, which is high speed. If I put it on 1, that puts it all in low speed, and I would use this scale. So I'm here, and then this is the one we're facing, going in and out. So right now I'm on E4, so it's feeding at 8 thousandths per revolution. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take it as fast as this thing will feed, and this thing does excellent. I'm going to turn this thing at 11 thousandths. That's as fast as I can go with my current belt setup. So I'm going to feed this thing at 11 is what I got it set up to now. So just so you know, if you figure out how to read your scales, I'm feeding this thing at 11. If you want a real nice finish, take it down to about 6 thousandths per revolution. But all right, I'm going to pause it and I'm going to get this thing a little closer and get it ready to cut, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. All right, so what I did, I got it within like 4 or 5 thou here and here, so fairly straight. I come in here. Now this has got one hell of a groove on it. This one's here junk, but I'm gonna clean it, get it cleaned up. So I come in, I run it until I barely touched. I zeroed. That number there, that's 10 thousandths and 2 tenths. So I come in, touched, zeroed, which you can use a DRO or your indicator, whichever, depending on what you got going on. Barely touched, I ran it in, and I cranked it in 10,000. I'm gonna take a 10 thousandths cut here, and at the fastest this machine will run, and I'm going to show you that this thing will in fact make a nice finish. So I've got it on 2E, which is 11 thousandths per revolution, as fast as this machine will go. And I'm just going to leave it so it's quieter at the 550 RPM, but normally I do 700 to 1200, but that's unnecessary for the video. So basically I've got it set, I got it ran in 10 thousandths cut. It's going to take more than 10 to clean this pump up, but I'm just doing this to show you guys. That's as fast as my machine can feed. That thing is proven, and it will still produce a super nice finish. Alright, I'll be back in just a minute when this thing gets done. Alright, just got done doing the first cut, and as you can tell, that CBN does a good job. You can still see that big groove there. I even took 10. And it was cutting even heavier out here. I started in here, so be aware of that. Some of your pumps, they're further out here if they're worked bad, so you might want to start out here and touch off and then run in, because like mine, it started at probably 10, it probably ended up at 20. 15 or 20. It was cutting pretty good out here, but as you can see, it looks good. And then when I get done, I'll just stick my indicator back on here and then on the outer ring there and make sure that it's square, and then I'll touch off here again just to make sure everything good. But once you do it, you'll get the idea. So that was as fast as my machine can cut in the feed. Now at 550 RPM, now at 700 RPM, this thing will leave a better finish, and at 1200 a real nice. But as you see, the PCD does good, and if you leave metal pieces in here or hit a cup or anything, it won't tear up your bit because it's CBN. It's just a CBN insert, and it's the long nose that I posted a little bit ago. Alright, so now let's go over here. Let's talk about some of these inserts, because that's where I was really confused. Alright, so on these inserts, so if you look up the tool, the number on the side of the tool, which I gave you, but if you look up that number and type in insert, it'll pop up the inserts that fits this tool. But anyway, this tool uses a VNMG and a 1604. Now disregard the 04 at the end. If you just type in VNMG 1604, it's going to pull up all the inserts that fit that tool holder. And then at the end of that, you type in PCD. The 04, so they'll make the same thing, and the end number is the tip radius. Now I like using the 4. There's an 8, a 4, and a 2 commonly. The 2 is pointy, the 4 is got a little bit bigger radius, and then the 8's a really big radius. Some people say that the bigger radius makes a finer cut on light cuts and all this. I just get the 4. It does everything that we need to do for automotive use. It'll turn these plates, everything, nice and smooth. So just type in the VNMG 1604 or 04 and put PCD after it on eBay or Amazon. These will all start popping up. CBN, get the ones that are 4-sided because they're the same price. Some of these will only be on the top one side or both sides. I found these for the same price, and I can flip this over. So there's 2 ends here to use and 2 ends there. Now on PCD, I've only found where they've got 1. So another reason for CBN, if it works, just get the CBN. But basically, your tool holder takes the VNMG, the 1604, and then the 04 or 02 or 08 is the radius. And they're cheap. Get one of each and see what you like, but I've already done it, and I like the 4. Now on steel, if I'm cutting a steel shaft or something and need a real nice finish, get the 02 in the CBN and do a light cut, and that thing will be like shiny as can be, where the 04 kind of leaves like a dull finish. And when you run it on steel, you've really got to be spinning that thing fast to get a good chrome looking finish on steel. So don't be scared to spin the lathe up to, well, you gotta be careful if you're running rod out the backside, but 1/2 inch rod, I think I had to spin it like 1200 and a feed rate of like 4 thousandths per revolution. So yeah, I'm hoping this helps anybody. So basically, when you stick in the chuck, put it in there and jiggle it. Don't push it all the way up. Stay on the bearing face there. Just lightly snug it, run your indicator, and once you tap it around here with a hammer, without this, tap it around till you get the best reading, and then snug it down, and then come back and just run your bull nose up into it a little bit of pressure, not much. It don't take much, just needs a touch. Check it, make sure you didn't throw it out, and then I typically do a 5 thousandths cut. I just wanted to do 10 to show you that it'll do it. And that surface is definitely, I know it looks a little galled, but it's not. It's smooth as can be at the fastest speed. But anyway, so hopefully that helps. I run other tooling, but for what you guys are doing, pumps, this one here is long enough to nose in to the pockets on the 60s and stuff and stay out of the way. But I just get my Pinnacle inserts off eBay. It's like, I don't know, 20 bucks. And they last 10 times better than this crap right here. These regular inserts, I don't know. I got all different kinds, but ain't nothing compared to that PCD or that CBN. So I just buy CBN. So hopefully it helps. Sorry about the long video, guys, but I know a lot of you are where I was. But learn your feeds and speeds. Learn this. I'm telling you that. Like, I tried getting away without doing it. You kind of got to get an idea on every machine of what your feed is. And I just gave you the numbers. Mine will cut at 11 thousandths revolution. It'll cut even higher than that if I change the gear drive. But at 11 thousandths, you've seen it took me probably 60 seconds to cut that pump at 500 RPM. You turn that thing up to 1200, and you're talking, you can't turn around and come back fast enough, and that thing's done. So I'm all about speed, trying to get these pumps done for these guys, and I'm trying to take over the machining stuff here. So I'm learning as much as I can as well, and so far that's what I've been taught, how to make sure that everything is straight to the stator, because that's what matters. If the stator's not straight in your machinist thing, now you've got it, instead of square to the stator, off. You don't want that. So try to dial indicate this in. And if you can only get it as close as you can get it is 8 thousandths, that's just what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. And I've done many pumps that were 8 to 10. I typically can get them within the 2 or 3 or dead on, but you're not going to. So if it's 10 out on your indicator reading, just get it close as you can. Because when I first started, I didn't know it. My chuck was actually out 15 thousandths. Say that every pump I was doing was out 5. So there's 20 thousandths, and all these 4L60s and 6Ls work just fine. So there's some kind of forgiveness there because it works. And I got some of them out here with hot shot trucks already 150,000 miles on them in 6 months. So, or more than that actually. And they're working. So there it is, guys.